What's going on, everybody? Today is October 9th. It's Monday, and you are listening and watching the Daily AI Show live. Today, we're coming to you this week and all next couple of weeks. We have all sorts of awesome AI products, all topics to discuss and talk about. But today, it's more about slide decks. And that's an area that I think we've all sort of dabbled in. We were just talking about it before we came on live. And we've all used sort of different tools or a little bit of mishmash of others. So we thought we wanted to bring that to you guys because I will be the first to say some things have changed over the last couple of months. Some of these products have gotten considerably better. Some of them really haven't. It's like sort of, okay, like we could see what you were doing, but it wasn't really there. Have they improved? So we just wanted to bring to you guys sort of our ideas, our thoughts on, what's currently out there, what we may be using. And, I think also as we get to the end of the show, like where do we think this is going? I think with like a lot of we talk about how we can kind of just see over the next hill. And I think this is a great example of that, of like kind of have an idea of where this would be going. So does anybody want to jump in with maybe an overall discussion about it, maybe how you're using it, or do we want to sort of dive into some of the tools we've been using?
I'm good with the latter because I'm not really doing much with it at the moment except for video presentation stuff.
Well, I think that's probably maybe a good question to jump on too, Aaron, because I think a lot of people are probably in that realm. Have you tested a few and they sort of failed you, or were they just not up to snuff at this point, or you just haven't really dove in, or you just don't have a need to make a lot of slides right now?
So to be honest, I haven't really had a big need to make a lot of slides, and I guess for better or for worse, I'm used to doing it myself anyway. But I can see the obvious benefits of being able to put together something. It depends on how in depth the product is. Like the one I just took a look at here was Canva. So Canva's got this new thing called Magic Design, which they've just introduced, and you can literally go to the home page. Do you want me to share the screen and show you?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
It'll be a quick presentation.
Canva is definitely on my list because they keep coming out with great products here.
Yeah. So,
and they're using Dolly 3 now as the
which is
image
amazing.
generator, and also I think there's a Google image generator too.
Yeah.
Did we all click on 3 times?
Yeah.
The home screen, and it says Meet Magic Studio. Woohoo! And then if I just click on presentations and then type something in, and I think earlier I just typed in what was it? I think I was doing a plain thing. Top 5 fighter jet in the US.
Well, that's a clicky keyboard.
Yes, it is. Indeed. So it goes off and does its work, and it'll come out with something in a few seconds now. Just have to wait for it to finish. So as I said, I don't really use slide decks that much, so I haven't had a huge need for it. But if you look at these, actually they're YouTube. I think I chose presentations and it gave me YouTube videos. My bad, but you can see that it's come up with some concepts already that are sort of relevant. I did do it earlier and it worked. I must have selected the wrong thing. My bad. But that's a good place to start, depending on what you're doing. And then the other one that I use is my AI video tool. So we've got in here. Most of these are single slide templates. But we've got explainer videos, and most of these had 3, 4, 5 slides. So I looked at this one here, and you can see different slides as they move across. And so you can basically say, I want to use that template and create a video. And then you've got yourself a video presentation, because some people do, they take PowerPoint slides and turn them into videos. So this is a little bit of a different option for people. It's not a full-blown PowerPoint. You don't get 50 slides or anything like that, not easily anyway. But they've got some stuff built in there. So yeah, that's sort of my main things.
Nice.
So I'll jump in and say that I'm forced to use decks all the time. So I have to squeeze what's the term? I gotta pull something out of my backside all the time, and it's so frustrating because I hate doing decks, but it seems like it's the best medium for presenting a concept. So I'm either doing it for a conference or the workshop that I'm running, or it's presenting to leadership, or it's just education. So there's all the different levels of the deck. And here's the problem I'm having with using AI. I've been introduced to Canva. I'm introduced to Gamma.app. Has anybody used Gamma?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically you give it the prompt, it does everything, so you don't have to think. But I'm inside of an ecosystem already. I'm inside of the PowerPoint ecosystem, and the idea that it saves in real time and that I can share it with people, or if I'm using the Google ecosystem, which I'm in both, unfortunately. So I have teammates that I can share the slide deck with for Google Slides. And so when you're having to do that kind of collaboration, these AI tools don't work because they're not building it on those platforms. So what I've found myself doing is doing a hybrid where I need imagery. So pretty much Microsoft does a good job of giving me suggestions of how to move the content around. Like I just do a big, boring text box and I go design features, and it gives me some ideas of how to cramp that into a different look, right? And then it has a blank for an image that it creates. And like I don't like the images, so I usually go to Midjourney and create an image based on the text slide. So I'll even throw the text in there. I'll say, whatever this was, language models or generative AI. I said, give me an image that kind of looks like this. Go. I don't even care what it looks like. I just want some kind of fluff to put in the side, so it's not just a slide of text. So that's what I'm using AI for now, and it's not the best use case because I don't know how to do it until Google gets better at it. Because Google does have a help me visualize this, feature, but it's kind of crappy. And then Microsoft's version is just barely enough to kind of give you some generic stuff for the slide. So I would love it if I could eventually. I think Copilot supposedly is just going to pull it from documents, pull it from conversations, pull it from Zoom meetings or recorded Teams meetings that it has. You'd be like, yeah, I had a conversation with the team last week about this new objective and workshop you're working on. Could you go ahead and build me a deck based on what we talked about? That's brilliant. That's what I'm ready for, but not right now. Yeah.
Right.
And I think, go ahead, who I was going to jump in.
I was just going to say, I think, Robert, you identified essentially the three main categories in this context for slide decks. One, there's just the image generators, like the help me visualize in the Google Labs right now. Then we see AI slide deck editors. So they're things like where you'll put up all of your content, you'll put up all your information, and the AI will edit it and basically act as your deck designer. So it'll make it look pretty, right? More visually appealing. And then finally, there's things like Gamma, which will take you from your text prompt. You put in what your idea is and they'll generate something, and then they'll allow you to edit it just like any standard slide presentation software.
But I forgot one thing more, Jimmy. For big one, none of them are on brand. So I can't take a Gamma and use my brand standards and my logos and my color schemes, because that's what we have to use. We have a standard deck that's PowerPoint that we have to adapt at WSI. So I can't use those.
Robert, I'm pushing back on you on that one. So Gamma, you just scratched the surface on Gamma, because Gamma's main export is PowerPoint. You just dump it to PowerPoint and then you proceed from there. Now, it also offers, interestingly, it offers the ability to publish right from within Gamma so that you can share that deck, and it provides analytics on views and so on. So it can be its own ecosystem, but it also generates something in I think a great mashup between a large language model and an image generator. It'll create a presentation deck that you basically get the starting point. Now just apply your theme for WSI and you're halfway there at least.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for proving me wrong. I will make an effort to delve into that more. Thank you.
And I think, Andy, two things. One, real quick before I forget, I'm going to bring it back up because Hannah is my buddy. She's awesome. And I just wanted to give her props too, because number one, I agree with her. It is still really early. And that's kind of why we wanted to talk about this. Like, it's early. I was doing this probably 7 months ago with Tomb, which I'll show in a second. I mean, that's when it said I made my first presentation in there. And it's like, we're still early, even 7 months later. And I think there's a good part to that. Also, I will just say, if y'all want to know anything about like how to do sales right, you need to go follow Hannah, because she is a superstar and a LinkedIn top voice and amazing. And we used to work together at Scaled. So yeah, I just wanted to call her out real quick. But what I wanted to say really quick to that, Andy, is, and I think it sounds like Gamma may be the better solution than this, but just last week, what I did, and this is sort of a hybrid back to what you were just saying, Robert, was I was in ChatGPT's advanced data analytics. I pulled that up and I had it create me and export me a PowerPoint presentation. So you can do it directly from inside ChatGPT. I mean, I know we're talking about these other tools and price points and stuff. And truth be told, I mean, I'm sure it could give me some prompts for how to create images, but you don't really have that right now. But I was able to export a PowerPoint. And the reason I did that was kind of to your point, which was we have our own slide decks at Scaled. In fact, they're really, really well done. And the running joke is it does not matter what image I select to put in there. Our internal guy, Jeff, who is amazing at design, he's always very, very nice to me, but it's almost funny to me at this point because there'll be little yellow sticky notes on the presentations that say maybe a different image. Perhaps we would use something else here. Like, it's every single one that I do. And I just laugh at Jeff. I'm like, Jeff, this is a work of art. I'm clearly know what I'm doing here, you know? And he's the design expert. I'm clearly not. And he couldn't be nicer about it all the time. But I used it just to get me the outline in PowerPoint. So what it outputted was just literally white, nondescript. There was no theme on them whatsoever. But it was 10 slides, and it gave me my headers, and it gave me my my minor sections underneath like the H2 headings, and it also gave me my slide notes, which I asked it for in the prompt, which was really cool because then I could take that and go into a pre-built themed deck and go, okay, I already know what slides 1 through 10 are going to be. Now I can go in and figure out, and as I know now, don't even try with the images and just give it to Jeff and my internal team, and he'll handle it and put some really good images in there. But I want to try more because of DALL-E 3, and I think DALL-E 3 makes it really, really easy to put really good graphics inside of presentations, more so than probably any other tool. I'm kind of in love with DALL-E 3 right now with how easy it is to do like quick one-off type images that could go into decks. So I think that's going to be really interesting as well.
So just to jump,
I have to share. Sorry. All right. Go ahead, jump in, Beth, before I share this.
But you're sharing.
No, talk.
There you go. Well, I'll bring it up. I'll bring it back up in a second.
Yeah. Just to jump on that. There is also a plugin called Smart Slides that will build you a slide deck. Same kind of thing, very, very plain. And you need ChatGPT Plus in order to get the plugins. But also, and this is something that I learned from Nicole Leffer, you can upload your slides to GPT Vision, and have GPT give you advice on the slide.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
Like you can consult with GPT Vision and say, like, hey,
when we get it, we will be able to do this.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, some of us are checking for voice every day.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I don't have voice.
But there are more and more tools. Robert, I think you're exactly right. And that's a Paul Raitzer point as well. When the enterprise systems come out, when Microsoft Copilot comes out in November, and when Google's thing gets good, it changes the game for these things, right? Mm-hmm. Because what's the ratio of effort to result that you're willing to do if it's really, really easy using the tools that you already use?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, share your screen.
Right. So I just did it while you all were talking, Andy, and I just said AI. This is why I gave it AI in your business, and it was fun watching it generate each slide in real time. And it's obviously going to be surface level because I didn't give it enough context to really give me some depth. But I love how it went through natural language, machine learning, computer vision, deep learning, because I have that in one of my slides that I've created myself. And these are weird how their slides are like not the same size, which I don't know about that. But I love how it gives me these little graphics, like 1, 2, 3. That's kind of fun. And again, this is something I already had in my slide deck about real world usage of AI that everybody's already using. And of course, it goes future.
And the program you're using,
this is Gamma.
Yep.
Gamma.app. Yeah. So I will ask you in real time, how do I make my theme? How would I pull it in from?
I wouldn't do that. You don't pull it in. Just export this deck to PowerPoint and start from there.
Okay. So you just take export. Okay.
Yeah.
To PowerPoint.
There we go.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. I think with a lot of these tools, that the ideal scenario is that we can type a prompt in and it'll produce an amazing slide deck and it'll have everything in there. We won't have to think. But anyone who's ever built a PowerPoint knows it doesn't work that way. We can get something that looks nice, but you've always got to go in and tweak the information and maybe change the images and move a few things around and all that kind of stuff. But none of these tools read our mind. So that's the reality at the moment. But they're a good place to start, I think, just to kick off if you're not good on design.
Well, also keep in mind that you're not the only one using the tool, right? So that looks like unique, wonderful content for you, right? Like this is amazing, but you're not seeing the other 100 people who asked for that exact same presentation, right? So it's really important to go in and personalize anything that you generate.
Yeah. By the way, let me just share my screen. I want to show you what Robert just went through. In a little way here, so that you can
while
see
you're loading that, Andy, I'll just quickly read. Yeah. Hannah just commented, "I've started about 6 free trials of platforms. Lol. Now I'm trapped in onboarding automated email nurture campaigns." That sounds about right.
Same, Hannah. Yeah.
The free trials. The curse of the AI free trials, beta, alpha, wait lists. Yeah. On and on and on and on. I get emails all the time that says, "Good news, you're off the wait list." I'm like, great. What did I sign up for?
What was
that? Okay. So here I wanted to show you that when you create with Gamma, you can either just give it a short thing. And I believe you did this one over here on the left,
I did.
Robert. Yeah. But if you do text transform, look what you get. Here's your instruction set. That's the prompt. And down here, you can put content. And there doesn't seem, you see there's a 5,000 word limit on that over on the right. But what you can do is work with ChatGPT, build, the documentation that you want about a product, for example, and then put it in here and generate the presentation. I'll show you an example of what Robert did, but with better imagery. This was just from the prompt. This is just from pure generation. But this is, I basically asked it, hey, give me a slide deck to start a winter apparel, an extreme sports winter apparel thing. And it came up with all of the different function and materials and gave images for those things as well. So it's really
Andy,
quite
we're still only seeing
What's that?
Can you show us the output?
Seeing the text transform screen. Did you share a different one? No, we're not seeing.
I see. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, sorry.
Stop sharing and share again here. Let me do that. Hang on a second.
I figured it showed up in another tab or something.
It was another tab. Yeah, I thought because it was on the same window it would show. But let me go here and share screen. I wish this part were faster. Okay. So now you're going to see what came out of just a simple prompt, like give me a slide deck for, here, let me go back to the top here. Slowly but surely. Well, you're seeing some of the slides. I didn't do any of this, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It says you did. It says by Andy. It says by Andy right there.
Well, I know because it was in my account, and that was the end of it. And now look at the end down here. It shows, conclusions and recommendations. And it was just really well organized, I thought, with a very, very spare prompt.
Right.
Yeah,
and I've seen people put in outlines to give it more context, and it does a better job of staying on topic of what they specifically want to say. So, I just did a quick sentence. You probably did more detailed, but then you could just give it an outline, and it follows the outline too. So, I think these tools have a lot of usability right now, and for sure, I'm going to be delving into it more.
So just to clarify for people, we're still talking about Gamma. Robert did a Gamma example, and now Andy did as well in a little bit more of a detailed way.
And if you want, I can follow that up by talking about at least two different tools. This is Tome. Does anybody want to take a guess, or does anybody know what TOME, how you pronounce that? Because I don't.
Probably Tome.
It's Tome. Because I play lots of video games, and it's definitely Tome.
Tome. Okay. So this is actually our topic for tomorrow. So what I thought is like, let me take what I did was I took the first paragraph of our show description for tomorrow, like the first blurb that says, hey, why should you tune in? And I was like, cool, okay, create me a slide deck based on that. So the way this tool used to work, what's that?
And the topic is for people who are making breakfast and not looking at the screen.
Oh, not looking at the screen. Yeah. Redefining intelligence and expertise in the age of AI. So just talking about how AI can easily pass some of the harder tests, the SATs and the medical exams and all these other tests or whatever. And so like, what is intelligence in this new era? If AI can do this for us, where does the human come into it? So it basically, so here's what it used to do. You used to type it in, kind of like what you were just saying, Andy, although very limited, and it would just create the slides for you. When I did this just literally this morning, it took me slide by slide through it and gave me a couple different options. I will say it took a little bit longer, but I actually liked it better. So we can just kind of run through. And so it's giving me sort of an intro. Basically what I gave it is what it's doing there. And then it gave us, this is new. I didn't come up with this. So limitations, scope, cultural biases, static evaluation. We get our very, very, anytime you say AI in any image, this is basically what you get is some robot or whatever, right?
Interesting placement of the lights.
Some sort of cyborg taking over. We have new approaches. So, data analysis, creativity, adaptability. We have things like emotional intelligence, which I'm sure we'll talk about tomorrow. What does the future of work look like? If we have these types of tools and so on and so forth. So, look, 11 slides. It didn't do a horrible job. I think if you just had to start net new, if you weren't worried about like having to match like your customized theme or something like that, and you literally just needed a slide deck to start from, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. In fact, I think they've improved from the time that I used them originally. Now, to contrast against that, this is Beautiful.ai. Now, I used Beautiful.ai back what you guys were saying earlier in terms of I used it as a starting point, and then not this particular slide deck. This is just another one that I had create for me, but I did one on nutrition internally for our company. And I started with a beautiful deck, Beautiful.ai deck, right? And then I went in and edited. And I will say I probably put 2 hours into that. But to start with slides that looked like this, and this is similar, we can kind of just go out here and get an idea of what some of these slides look like. We can click through a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So, look, not every single one of them is going to be super important, but I was able to quickly edit and go in and change these when I was doing the nutrition one. And it really, really came out with a really good looking deck. So I'm a fan of Beautiful.ai. Again, it's not going to necessarily be on theme with what you necessarily need. You can see it's pulling in Shutterstock images and things that shouldn't, right? Random Alex Jones as the sales representative. That's fun. Alex Jones as sales representative. That's just random. Yeah. And on and on and on. So anyway, I think it's a you can see here, it does a pretty good job. I mean, if I was a student in my daughter's age on up, I would be using Beautiful.ai for every single one of my projects. And then the last one I'll just say really quick was I tried this one this morning. This is a plugin. This is slidesai.io. It's super easy to say. And it's a plugin for your Google Slides. So now you can, same thing. I put in the same sort of description and it outputted these slides, but I will have to tell you, maybe it was me, maybe I didn't put in enough, but they suck. They're not even close to being good enough. They're not even good enough to start from. Sorry, slides.ai.io. Maybe I messed up. I apologize if anybody's listening to this, but it was not good enough to even start from. So it would not be a top choice. But I'm curious what you guys think too, because one thing we're talking about business, this is business, that's our main goal with, sort of the LinkedIn crowd of like, how would you use this in business? And I think we've given you a lot of options, but there is also the education side. And so I'm curious what you guys think. If you can rewind back to school, because what I remember from middle school, the same age as my daughter, was having to go into the library. And then we would get that they had this dark room with the projector on the wall, and we tape up the big piece of white paper, and you'd stand really close and you would draw the picture and transfer it and then make your graph or whatever. And then later, obviously, we were making presentations. But if I'm my daughter and they're like, hey, you have to start and present a presentation in PowerPoint by like Friday she's in civics right now. So let's say the role of government and you're the right to vote, let's say, or something like that, which is something you should be doing. I would start in beautiful.ai and I would create it and then edit it and make it her own and things like that. But I certainly would not be starting from scratch. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah. I think if you look at the tools that are available, both the presentation tools, but also plugging things like ChatGPT or Claude in, you can come up with some really good concepts to start with. And it's really then just a case of going, okay, let's take a good outline from GPT, for example. Let's put it into the slide tool, come up with something. If we like it, we keep it. If we don't, we do some tweaking. But I think it just gets people to the end result quicker. And I'm sure I know the technology is going to get better and better, but until it can actually read your mind and know exactly what you want, we're going to have to still do some work at the end of the day.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. And I think we're at time. Let's do a TLDR. What is everyone's one recommendation when it comes to slide making with AI?
Mine's really easy. I would say I'm really a fan of what Aaron just said. So just all of that, ditto to that. And then I would say really look at a tool like DALL-E 3. And if you don't have it, don't worry. If you don't have ChatGPT, you can use it through Bing right now in your browser for free. And I think you could very easily do what Aaron just said. You could get ChatGPT to help you with the outline. You could use advanced data analysis, like I said, which would also create you the PowerPoint slide if you wanted to start there. And then an easy tool like DALL-E 3, just to put some really nice images in there. You really could have a deck that's probably very close to like 85% done for you. And then it just needs your tweaks in less than an hour, which I think is very, very helpful for the typical business user. So that would be my TLDR.
I'm going to say the same, but for Canva, because Canva actually includes monthly credits for free users as well right now. And so you don't necessarily have to be a pro user in order to get access to some of these Canva magic features. You're just limited in what you can do. And for pro users, you get a ton more. So,
yeah. Canva's such a cool. I use it all the time now. And I've always tell people, don't ever hire me to be your graphic designer, but Canva makes me a bearable graphic designer. So, yeah. And I've seen lots of people do presentations in Canva for either slide decks or whatever. So, I think I agree with Beth. I think as they refine the product, I think it'll get a lot better and a lot more usable.
Yeah. Well, my TLDR as a self-taught amateur, actually below amateur, what's that? Beginner? What's below beginner? Whatever that is.
Novice.
Right?
Yeah, as a self-taught noob and using these tools with regard to decks and just having to force it to make it work. Stick with what you know. I guess there's such a learning curve to some of these. I would say let's hope that Copilot's going to be awesome in the future. And then because I'm struggling with being able to put it out on brand and in a fast way. These tools are good for ideation, but even trying to import them in is causing some problems in my anxiety. So that's my TLDR. So,
Andy?
Okay, my TLDR is most times when you're wanting to make a presentation, you're starting with writing. And so I would look at the tools that allow you to put in not just the outline and not just a simple prompt, but give a text document all the way up to and including a product requirements document
Mm.
and then present that. So it's really about transforming something that is way too long to read, literally TLDR, now put it in along with some graphics. So I think that's the right workflow.
Andy, I'd be interested real quick before you go, Jimmy, to say, I wonder if we take today's transcript and through what you just showed us in Gamma, what kind of outlet, maybe that'll be something fun to do, because that would be interesting. If you can, we haven't really talked about transcripts, but that's a really great way, especially from the sales side, to take a call that you were just on. Maybe it was a discovery call, and you were just talking to a client. You're like, wow, we went over a lot of stuff. There were some action items. You took that transcript, maybe through something like Gamma, and you were able to turn back in an email and say, not only here's my email, here's a quick presentation deck that I'm going to voice over, just going over some of the main things you brought up and some highlights and how we intend to handle those pain points for you. That's stellar. If I was a client on the other side, I'm going to be impressed as hell if that gets turned back to me in like an hour from the time we just had the call. That's a cool idea.
Awesome. That's a brilliant use case, Brian. If we can have a call and it develops not just with what Aaron has been doing, like if we can develop an audio video presentation, which is what HeyGen allows you to do, that's pretty brilliant. I like that as a use case.
All right. I don't have much to add except for, I mean, everyone's thoughts are fantastic, but I would say right now at the state of where these slide AI apps are, just identify how you want to use them. If you've got stuff to work with, then probably something like Gamma or Beautiful is really to launch off with. And if you've got nothing, then let's do some ideation in your favorite ChatGPT like app, and then transfer it over. That's about it.
Love it. That's good. Well, I think we kind of nailed it, guys. Go us. Good Monday. We're just about on time, and we'll be back. You guys already know what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I had it up on the deck, so we'll be back tomorrow to talk about. What's that, Aaron?
I said we're never allowed to be on time. That's the rule.
Well, we're real close today, so we're going to go with it, and then we'll be back tomorrow. Like we said, we're going to be talking about what is intelligence? How do we define intelligence in the new world of AI? We'll be talking all about that tomorrow and giving our ideas and thoughts on that. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for showing up. Thanks, Becca. Thank you, Hannah, for the comments. Becca's somebody else I work with, literally. Thanks, Hannah, and for showing up. And we will see you guys the rest of this week. See ya.
Bye.